it's a big long word, mini, home of the Golden Gophers?
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota, that's right, okay. Yeah, I knew it's up north somewhere, I think. Okay. He moved to North Carolina from Fort Lauderdale. He's not that dumb. He moved from Minnesota where it's really cold to someplace where it's really warm. And then he came halfway back. So, he's been married for 42 years. He has 4 adult children and 5 grandchildren, and he looks so young. Oh, well. Jim's speech this morning is from the Advanced Manual, Speaking to Inform. His speech will be 5 to 7 minutes long. Please welcome Mr. Jim.
Yay.
With your knees, Jim. Look with your knees.
Is this part of it?
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, 3 years ago, about 2009, my wife declared, Jim, I've got the perfect gift for you. Well, she just happened to be watching Oprah. And the guest on Oprah that day happened to be Jeff Bezos, who is the CEO of Amazon. Amazon was introducing the new product from Amazon, an e-reader called the Kindle. I said, Linda, I don't want one of those things. I like books. I'm big on books. I love books. So, does that make me Mr. Buggy Whip? Think about it. What do you think? How many books are in that box?
60.
Actually, about 20. And what do you think it weighs?
A lot.
40 pounds. This is a Kindle. What do you think this weighs? About a pound. That's 40 times more. So, and how many books do you think this thing will hold?
Thousands.
Well, some say 3,500. Most probably can put up, 1,000, 1,500 books on this thing. Well, let's look at the facts. Newspapers are going out of business, right? Minneapolis Star, Chicago Tribune, Denver. They're going bankrupt, they're closing shop. They're all going online. Encyclopedia Britannica, been in business for over 200 years, stopped publishing their books. Everything on Encyclopedia Britannica you got to get online now and pay a subscription fee. At their peak, they were selling 120,000 sets of Britannicas. No more. Borders bookstores closed 600 stores because they can't compete with Amazon. Barnes & Noble decided, well, we're going to have to introduce our own e-reader, the Nook. Of course, we all know about Apple and its iPad. So, does that make me Mr. Buggy Whip? I said, Linda, I don't want a Kindle. I love books. I often thought, I want to own a bookstore someday. I really want to own a bookstore. And I thought, no, there's no way I can compete with the big box stores. Well, big box stores are now kind of disappearing. But I look at my library at home, and I've got a home library. Not big, a few hundred probably books, but that library, as I do a 360, and look at what I've got there, that kind of chronicles my life chapters. So what's in there? Well, Bibles. We've probably got a dozen or more copies of various translations of the Bible. Been with me, highs and lows of life, mountaintop experiences, and believe me, lots of lows when I really need the Word. I supplement that with Christian writers, Pat Morley, 7 Seasons of a Man's Life, C.S. Lewis, Rick Warren, probably one of my favorite authors is Philip Yancey. I can really identify with the stuff that he writes over the years, and many, many more. Then I get in my career. Peter Drucker, probably one of the best management writers ever, in my opinion. In Search of Excellence, 1970s, that's when American companies were concerned about whether the Japanese and their emphasis on quality were going to wipe out American industry. Never happened. Some of those companies no longer exist. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I've given away dozens of this copy. I think this is probably, next to the Bible, it's probably the best thing ever. Well, I lost my job in 1990. So, what color is your parachute? My wife was studying for a master's at the time in Minnesota, University of Minnesota, and I took a job down in Miami. And we drove the van down there with my stuff. We were going to be separated for about a year. I mean, I could fly back on weekends and so on. But I could not sleep the night before when I had to take her to the airport the next morning and send her back. And I picked up this book, The Road Less Traveled, which I had brought with me, by Scott Peck, another one of my most favorite authors. And his first sentence in here is, life is difficult. But once you accept the fact that life is difficult, you can begin to transcend it and get beyond it. Great book. I've probably bought every one of his books. He's now passed away. Well, then I retired. You know, Golf for Dummies.
I need that one.
And my son, who is a pilot, taught me to fly. So this is the private pilot's manual. Got my private pilot's license. Personal financial planner. Took the course. What else was there in here? Then, after I retired, surviving prostate cancer. I got prostate cancer and was very successful with the treatment process. But all of a sudden, you know what? Jim's not immortal. So I got this wonderful, wonderful bedtime reading called Successful Aging, Die Broke, and Beyond the Grave. So what am I reading now? Well, it seems very, very apropos in today's world. The Rise and Fall of the Great Powers. God help us. I mean, literally, God help us. Because if we don't learn from history, history is going to repeat. This guy's amazing, Steve Jobs. I could never have worked for this guy because he was probably a miserable guy to work for. But brilliant in so many ways and so demanding. So, Mr. Buggy Whip, I'm not technologically illiterate. I do have my little iPhone, and I do use this to read newspapers on occasion. But I love holding that newspaper and opening that newspaper and reading it. But the Kindle, this is data. This is data. I mean, I can't see the book spines. I can't see the chapters of my life. These are joy. These are beautiful. These give me great, great pleasure. I can look at them and relive those chapters of my life. Mr. Toastmaster.